What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Welcome to the Auto 101. Today we're taking a look at a car that I didn't know they actually still make in 2024, but they do. Lo and behold, it's a brand new 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage, the cheapest new car sold in America. Every single trim starts under $20,000. Does it stack up for the North American market? Is it good enough? Let's take a look and find out. Now, I got this 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage as a rental. I had the option between this and a Toyota Corolla for a trip from San Francisco all the way to Lake Tahoe. And I thought, let's get the Mirage. I've never driven one before. I've always wanted to drive the cheapest car in America. And I thought this was a perfect opportunity to get behind the wheel and really push the limits of what the Mitsubishi Mirage can do. So let's start out with the outside while we're here. And I'm going to break this review into sort of pros and cons, or likes and dislikes, whatever you want to call it. Basically the good things and the things that I don't like so much. Starting with the good things, I actually happen to think this is a fairly good looking car as far as ultra subcompact cars go. They redesigned the front end a few years ago, and it really wears this Mitsubishi fascia well. And of course, it's a diminutive little car, but the styling features and flourishes that they put on here tend to work well for the vehicle. There's certain things that are kind of quirky. For example, the added on backup camera, which is definitely put on to appease regulators, but styling as a whole looks good. You got some hubcaps with, fun fact, only 4 lugs, which is very rare in 2024 in North America. But styling wise, a good looking car overall. What else do I like? I actually think this is a very fun car to drive when it comes to sort of inner city zipping around or driving on small, tight back roads that don't have too much speed. Anything with low speed, this car is very fun to drive because it's the lightest new car sold in America. I'll put the weight right down here. And also, this car doesn't have electric power steering, so you get a very engaging, dynamic driving experience purely in terms of steering feel. I mean, don't get me wrong, the handling limits of this car are quite low, but in terms of how you feel when you're driving the car, it's a very fun time. I did drive this car on some pretty challenging back roads, and it didn't really hold up very well, but let's talk about that when we talk about the things that I didn't like so much. What else do I like about the Mirage? Well, I think the packaging and space efficiency is done very well. If we start with the front seat, for my driving position at 5'9.5", there was a lot of space. You sit very upright. The seat doesn't go too low, but despite that, it feels very roomy. It didn't feel cramped for a car of this size. Likewise for the passenger compartment. And because of the shape of this car, there's a lot of headroom. So it feels very spacious, which is also mirrored in the back. Lots of space. Again, 5'9", 5'10", but there's still a good amount of leg room, a good amount of knee room and foot room in the back of the Mirage's rather small cabin. And for a weekend trip, for a party of 2, it could really hold all the luggage you could imagine. 2 carry-on bags, 2 backpacks, some sweaters, etc. Does a good job of carrying stuff for 2 people. That being said, this is not a car to use for families, but for 2 people, for 1 person, perfectly fine. The other thing I really like about the Mirage is the execution of technology on the inside. Now, there isn't a lot of technology on the inside. It is a car that came out in 2012, so it's going on 12 years old now. They've updated and refreshed the cabin to include Apple CarPlay. Let's go on ahead and turn the car on. And it's an Alpine head unit that includes Apple CarPlay, and it actually functions rather well. It's fast, it's zippy, not a lot of lag in the system. It looks a little bit dated, but it works well, and can't really complain about the actual operating conditions and operating use of this center system. It's quite well done. I also like how there's single zone climate control, which is a bit more refined than a simple hot-cold knob, and that's done rather well. And this cabin is very basic, but it's put together very, very well. The materials are of a hard, robust quality in that they're going to last, and they're going to last well for a long time. So I don't hate the cabin, and that's a good thing for a car in this price point. What do I not like about the Mirage? First off is the driving experience on faster roads or on faster back roads, on uphill, on any sort of challenging terrain. The Mirage just doesn't do a good job of keeping up. This car has 79 horsepower, and in the North American world of fast highways and big pickup trucks with massive V8 engines. This car just does not hold its own when it comes to executing passing maneuvers on the highway. It holds speeds of, 65 to 70 or 100 to 110 kilometers an hour pretty well. But when it comes to passing quickly, you really have to put your foot all the way down, and it's slow to pick up the speed when you're already past 60 miles an hour in order to execute a passing maneuver. So that definitely needs to be something that Mitsubishi addresses if this car ever gets replaced, which I don't think it will be. They've announced the end of this Mitsubishi Mirage for 2025. And no surprise, really, because it's just not very well designed for the North American market. Also, similarly, on a road with a lot of incline or a very steep uphill road, this engine, and at a higher altitude, it just doesn't do a good job of putting the power down efficiently. It's really slow. It takes a long time to accelerate, and it's honestly kind of dangerous both in the uphill maneuvers and the highway passing maneuvers, because you feel kind of helpless with your foot all the way down and the car is just not accelerating as quick as the traffic around you. It's not a very reassuring feeling. That, combined with the smallish 14-inch wheels and the small brakes within that, when you're going on a fast back road with a lot of turns and a lot of sweeps, the braking doesn't feel too confidence inspiring on those roads. So the overall driving experience is a little bit harrowing on faster roads, whether it's on the highway or whether it's on faster back roads. So I'm not a fan of that. And also, surprisingly, you'd think that a car with such a small 1.2 liter four-cylinder engine with 79 horsepower would have good fuel economy. And for the most part, it does if you're doing low-speed city driving. But as soon as you go on those faster-paced roads, you're pushing this little engine so much that it really sticks in the high RPMs almost perpetually. It's at 4,000 RPMs plus, sometimes even at 5, 6, really straining that engine and using a lot of fuel. So that impacts the fuel economy, and overall efficiency of the car suffers as a result from pushing it in order to keep up with traffic around the Mirage. I'm also not a fan of the way that this car is finished in terms of minor details and attention to detail. For example, this exposed keyhole here, or the way this backup camera is stuck on, or even this mechanism. And if you go into the trunk, you can see that there's some exposed metalwork on the bottom. Now look, I understand this is a car built to a price point. It's built to a specific price point that it needs to attain. But that price point is no longer as low as it once was. This is a car that is easily in the mid to high teens. And there's a lot of competition in the used world when it comes to that price point. You can get a 2 to 3 year old car of a class or two higher than the Mirage with low mileage for really the same price point. So what is the Mirage offering at that price point? And I think there's really two things. Firstly, the peace of mind of having a brand new car, and also the peace of mind of having a warranty, because this comes with one of the longest warranties in the industry. It's almost 10 years long, and that's really the trump card, or the calling card of the Mitsubishi Mirage. A low starting price with the comfort of having a new car and the comfort of having a new warranty. So overall, how do I feel about the Mirage? Well, I'll tell you, honestly, it wasn't the best experience. I was very hopeful because I love economical, affordable cars. I think it's a great niche, and they're actually harder to execute than a supercar. But I think that the Mirage, for the North American market at least, just falls a little bit short. It's getting long in the tooth. The power is just not there for the types of roads that we have in many parts of the country. If you're driving purely in the city, and if the city is in San Francisco with its big hills, then this might be okay, but I would strongly advise with going with a used option from a class or two above for the same price point. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Have you driven a Mirage? Is it something that you've enjoyed? Do you own a Mirage? Would you pick something else? I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Thank you for watching, and catch you next time.